Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we've got an incredible story for you about Desmond Doss, a U.S. Army medic in Second World War. Imagine being in the thick of battle and saving 75 men without ever firing a shot. Hard to believe, right? Well, that's exactly what Desmond Doss did at the Battle of Okinawa. So if you're curious about how courage, compassion, and conviction can come together in the most extreme circumstances, stick around. This is a story you don't want to miss. Desmond Thomas Doss was born on February 7, 1919 in Lynchburg, Virginia, to William Thomas Doss and Bertha Doss. He grew up in a working-class family during a period that would soon transition into the Great Depression. Doss attended local public schools but never graduated from high school. He had to leave school to help support his family, which led him to take various jobs, including work at a lumberyard in Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company. However, even in these early years, Doss exhibited signs of unusual bravery and altruism. For instance, he once saved a man trapped under a rail cart, an incident that provided an early indication of his life-saving tendencies. A major influence in Doss's life was his religious upbringing. His family were devout Seventh-day Adventists, a Protestant Christian denomination known for its observance of the Sabbath on the seventh day of the week, Saturday, and its emphasis on a holistic approach to well-being. As a child, Doss was deeply influenced by a framed poster of the Ten Commandments that hung in his home, especially the Sixth Commandment, "Thou shalt not kill." Seventh-day Adventists are taught the importance of health, community service, and above all, the pursuit of peace. The church traditionally advocated for non-combatancy and conscientious objection to armed service. Doss absorbed these teachings deeply, embracing them as guiding principles for his own life. Before joining the military, Desmond Doss faced the same hardships that plagued millions of Americans during the Great Depression. Job opportunities were scarce, and when he found work, it was often physically demanding and low-paying. Despite the challenges, Doss showed a strong work ethic and commitment to whatever task was at hand. His work life was shaped not just by economic necessity but also by a sense of duty towards his family and community. He worked not for self-advancement, but to contribute to the well-being of those around him. This attitude was a precursor to the sense of duty he would later feel towards his country and his fellow soldiers. The attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, was a turning point for the United States and for Desmond Doss. Feeling a strong sense of duty to his country but conflicted due to his religious convictions, Doss made a decision that would set him apart from many others. He voluntarily enlisted in the U.S. Army in April 1942, but as a conscientious objector. From the outset, he faced significant discrimination and ridicule for his decision to serve without bearing arms. His religious beliefs, which prohibited him from working on the Sabbath and carrying a weapon, were not well received by either his superiors or his peers. Doss was labeled as a coward and faced attempts to expel him from the Army. He was assigned menial tasks and ostracized, making his early military life extremely challenging. Doss's training period was fraught with difficulties. Initially, he was assigned to a rifle company, despite his conscientious objector status. His superiors and peers saw his refusal to carry a weapon as an act of insubordination or cowardice, rather than a deeply held moral principle. Attempts were made to have him transferred, discharged, or even court-martialed. During training at Fort Jackson, Doss continually faced ostracization and ridicule. His fellow soldiers questioned his bravery and patriotism, often taunting him or challenging him physically. Despite these hardships, Doss refused to compromise on his beliefs. His resolve was tested many times but never wavered. The routine included weapon training, something he refused to participate in. Instead, he would focus on medical training, determined to serve as a medic on the battlefield. When the unit was given passes for weekend leave, Doss would stay back due to his observance of the Sabbath, a period of rest and worship from Friday evening to Saturday evening. Rather than allowing this time to weaken his resolve, he used it to strengthen his commitment to his faith and his convictions. Ultimately, Doss's commanding officers could not find grounds to expel him from the Army, and he was allowed to serve as a combat medic, not carrying any weapon into battle, a decision that would have historic ramifications for Doss and many others. The Battle of Okinawa, fought from April to June 1945, was one of the largest amphibious assaults in the Pacific War of Second World War. Known as Operation Iceberg, it was the final major battle of the war and aimed to provide the U.S. with a strategic base for the invasion of mainland Japan. The battle was marked by intense combat, with heavy casualties on both sides, including significant civilian losses. Okinawa featured a combination of naval, air, and land forces in a coordinated effort to take control of the island. The battle involved over 180,000 U.S. Army and Marine Corps troops, who faced a deeply entrenched Japanese army that was determined to resist at all costs. The Japanese had over 100,000 troops and support from local Okinawan conscripts. The ferocity of the battle and the challenging terrain made it a horrific experience for everyone involved. Desmond Doss was assigned as a combat medic to the 1st Battalion, 307th Infantry, 77th Infantry Division. As someone who refused to carry a weapon, Doss's primary role was to provide first aid and evacuate the wounded. At Okinawa, he often ventured into enemy territory to administer aid, not just to American soldiers but also to wounded Japanese soldiers, demonstrating a level of compassion and bravery that was extraordinary under such extreme conditions. Doss's refusal to bear arms raised skepticism among his comrades, many of whom questioned his courage and reliability. There were concerns about whether he could be counted on in the heat of battle. The fact that he wouldn't train or perform duties on the Sabbath added to these tensions. However, as the battle intensified, Doss's relentless bravery and his skills as a medic won over even his staunchest critics. When his unit was given a mission that required them to scale a 400-foot cliff, known as the escarpment or Hacksaw Ridge, Doss was right there with them. Many wondered if his convictions would hinder the mission, but the opposite proved to be true. On May 5, 1945, American troops faced heavy artillery and gunfire as they tried to secure Hacksaw Ridge. Casualties were mounting and medical evacuation seemed nearly impossible given the conditions. Despite the overwhelming odds, Doss refused to seek cover. Armed with nothing more than his medical supplies and an unwavering sense of duty, he ventured into the kill zone to rescue his fallen comrades. One by one, he dragged and carried wounded soldiers to the edge of the escarpment and used a series of ropes to lower them to safety. Each time he went back, he prayed, "Lord, please help me get one more." Doss continued this incredible feat for hours, long after many had retreated to safety. Though exact figures vary, it's widely accepted that Desmond Doss saved around 75 men that day, a feat that was initially met with disbelief. He carried out these acts of heroism all while dodging enemy gunfire and artillery, and while being completely unarmed. Doss's courageous actions not only saved lives but also served as a profound moral boost for the American troops. His deeds transcended the conventional narrative of what a war hero should be, proving that bravery and heroism come in many forms and are often rooted in the power of individual convictions. There you have it, the incredible story of Desmond Doss, a true hero who proved that you don't need a weapon to save lives. If you're inspired, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Until next time, keep exploring the amazing stories that make us who we are.